Hi, I'm Rhonda Buss, and welcome to the So News, So Chic, So Along. As you can see, I have cut out my slip. For this slip, I actually used, it's a knit, but this has a little bit of spandex in it, which is nice. You know, if you've ever used spandex before, you know that spandex has the quality to kind of hold things in a little bit that we don't want bulging out. So a knit with a little bit of spandex in it is always a nice choice for making a slip like this. Now, when I made this slip, as you see on view B, there's a flounce on the bottom of the slip. It's a lovely addition to the slip, but you could choose to eliminate it altogether. The slip is a rather long slip, and I typically don't wear my skirts or my dresses quite that long. So I chose to shorten the slip, and the way I did that is I cut 10 inches off the bottom. So both this slip as well as this slip are 10 inches shorter than what this slip has been cut to be. If you notice on the pattern, it actually decreases just a slight amount from the bottom to where I cut it off initially. I did not make an adjustment on the flounce because of the fact that the flounce is cut, the way the flounce is cut, it's cut a little bit on the bias, so it has a little bit of extra stretch to it, and it just forms right into the bottom of the slip. Of course, you don't want to get, I wouldn't get too much shorter than that, but if you cut, you know, 6, 8, 10 inches off the bottom of the slip, no adjustments will be needed to the flounce. So now that we've talked about that, the next thing that we're going to talk about is the bodice of the slip and putting it together. This is a little bit of a puzzle in a way, but I will just lay it out and show you how it should look. There are a number of little tiny pieces that all go with the view B of this slip. And like I said, it's a little bit of a puzzle, but this will give you an idea of how it should be. And of course, I would be sewing this all together. You know, note that this is the curve for the bust. So this is going to be, when you sew these two together, you are going to ease this around. It'll fit in just fine, not a problem at all. So it'll look like this as the puzzle goes together. And here I have one sewn together, so you can see the comparison of the two. And this is just half of the bodice. Of course, there'd be another half that will be sewn on to this. So it really goes together quite easily. Just think about it. Think about how the shapes should go together. Follow the instructions in the booklet. You'll be just fine. So once you have the bodice piece together, it's time to think about the straps. So the way I did mine, and I did it the same on all 3 slips. And with this slip, I used an antique silk ribbon, and so I was actually able to get it so that the little flower was right in the center, which I thought was a nice little touch. So I did you cut a little loop. Now, if you'll notice, when I did the loop actually follows the angle of this, so that when it comes up, that it's straight. And then when with these pattern pieces, this, and this, you will actually cut 4, because you need 1 for each side, so that's 2, and then you need 2 to go on the inside. So there will be a lining piece on the inside of this. So before you do that, you would sew this, and of course, before you sew the loop to this pattern, to this piece, you put the loop on it, and then once that's done, then you can thread your ribbon through the little piece here that's used to adjust it. Now, I bought ribbon that just at my local fabric store. It's a nice ribbon. It came on a roll, and it actually has a satin on both sides, so it's nice on the front and the back side. And then too, you can purchase just the generic slides and rings also at your local fabric store. These will work for just about anything that you're going to use because of the fact that they've included the see-through as well as the black and the white. So it'll work for just about anything. Now, if you go online, you will find companies that offer matching slides and rings, be it lavender or blue, but those you would need to order. This you can get at your local fabric store. Now, once you've put your slip together, I'd like to talk about the seam finishes. And the way I like to finish my seams for something like this, rather than on the serger, the serger is fine. It'll make a nice seam finish, as we all know. But the issue that I have with the serger on a piece of lingerie is it does have a little bit of a rolled edge to it. And I really like my seams to finish flat. So I sewed the seam, and I sewed it with, make sure when you're working with these fabrics that you use the appropriate needle. You want to use a needle that is for stretch fabric, and it will say it on the needle package. There are needles that say universal. Those are fine to use, but if you really want the best result, I recommend getting the stretch needle. So you will sew your seam and then trim it, and then come along with just this little bit of a zigzag right along the edge. So it just gives an absolutely lovely finish. Now, as much as sewing machines have progressed and we have all these machines that do all these absolutely wonderful, fantastic things, there are many people who don't have a machine that has a zigzag capability. So if you don't have that, you can still finish your seams, give them a little bit of a finishing touch. It's not going to be as pretty as it will if you have that little zigzag stitch on the edge, but you would sew your seam, trim it down, and then on the outside of your fabric, of your garment, rather, you would do just a little bit of an edge stitch to hold your seam down. So I think that you'll find that this slip goes together quite easily. Just follow the instructions in the booklet, and I don't think you'll have a problem at all. In the next video, we're going to talk about embellishing the slip, which I think you'll find a lot of fun. So thanks for joining me with the Sew Chic Sew Along.